her in November when Georgia pushes her over the edge to become the 47th president of the United States of America. Just like Vice President Harris, my public service is guided by purpose, passion, and people. You have got to know who you're serving, why you are serving them, and then you have to give it everything you've got. Vice President Harris has invested in our communities. Savannah has benefited tremendously from the investments of the Biden-Harris administration. Y'all should show President Joe Biden some love as well. From investing millions of dollars into the Port of Savannah, shouts out to the working men and women of ILA 1414, 1475, and 2046, to investing in our roads from Macon to Savannah. The Vice President has shown that she cares about building up the middle class of our great country. She knows us, she understands us, and she gets us. In stark contrast, and I'm home so I have to keep it real, Donald Trump intends to tear down our progress. He will strip away the historic investments that Vice President Harris helped to secure, which led to the creation of over 450,000 good-paying jobs right here in Georgia. He will cut housing protections for black and brown people, just like he took advantage of them when he made his billions off of the backs of hardworking Americans. I know, right? He will roll back caps on out-of-pocket prescription drug costs and the $35 insulin cap. Anybody here got sugar? Okay, all right. Benefits for over 1.9 million Georgia seniors and others on Medicare, hard won by Vice President Harris and our very own Savannah's own Senator Raphael Warnock. Beloved, we cannot afford to lose all of our progress. And frankly, I want a president that I could be proud of. I want a president that doesn't embarrass the hell out of me. I want a president that respects women. I want a president that's respected around the world. I want a president that believes that everyone matters, no matter who they are, no matter where they live, no matter who they love, no matter what their tax bracket is, and a president I want a president that doesn't believe in black jobs. I want a president who believes everybody should have a job. And my friends, that president is Kamala Harris. That's why I am standing strong, 10 toes down, hard in the paint, from the window to the wall, with Vice President Harris and Governor Tim Walz. Together, they are presenting our country with a new way forward, a joyous future where every American, you, every American is represented. Now, Georgia, because I got to go. Georgia, we got our work cut out for us. We have done it before, and we can do it again. 68 days. Everybody say 68. We need to hit these streets and mobilize. For the next 68 days, we need to knock on doors and talk to our friends and our family and our neighbors and fight for our freedoms. For the next 68 days, we're all in, and we're going to work together to put Vice President Kamala Harris in the White House as the next President of the United States of America. All right. We had a great time in Chicago at the DNC. We're having a great time here in Savannah. But none of this means anything if we don't show up and we don't show out at the polls in November. When we fight, let's get to work. God bless you.
Please welcome Congresswoman Nikema Williams.
Y'all, there's been a lot of talk lately about Vice President Kamala Harris and Tim Walz bringing the joy back. And I hope that you feel the joy because I've been with them for the last 2 days, and y'all, I feel that joyful warrior spirit. I'm Congresswoman Nikema Williams, and I proudly represent Georgia's fighting 5th Congressional District up in Atlanta. But y'all, I am also proud to serve as your chairwoman of the Democratic Party of Georgia. I am so thrilled to be here in Savannah with y'all to welcome our next president, Kamala Harris, back to the Peach State. She's been here fighting for our reproductive freedom. She's been here to show off the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been invested in infrastructure in our state. Y'all, she's been here to show off the thousands of good-paying union jobs that the Biden-Harris administration has created all over Georgia. She's been here to highlight the historic investments in the Port of Savannah. She's been here fighting for our freedom to vote. She's been here fighting to advocate for gun safety reforms that will truly save lives. She's been here investing a record-breaking $16 billion with the B, y'all, in our HBCUs. And y'all, as a proud third-generation HBCU graduate, that is only because of Pell Grants and student loans. And the Biden-Harris administration is fighting to forgive that student loan debt, and y'all, it is personal for me. But now she's back again, y'all. She's back again to remind us what's at stake in the most important election of our lives, and more importantly, why we're gonna win. Because back in 2020, Donald Trump, he just couldn't accept that his dangerous agenda of rolling back our freedoms and selling out working families, it lost in Georgia. So he tried to silence our voices and tried to overturn our free and fair election. But the voters, y'all, that's y'all, you spoke loud and clear and rejected Donald Trump and his extremism in 2020. And guess what? We're gonna do it again. Y'all, we got a clear choice in this election. Do we want the candidate who is hell-bent on ripping away our freedoms, or the candidate who's gonna fight to restore them? Are we gonna let Donald Trump take us back to a dark place? Are we gonna walk with President Harris into a bright blue future? Do we want division and anger, or do we want joy? Y'all, we've got 68 days to send Vice President Harris and Tim Walz to the White House. Y'all, this is Battleground Georgia, where every single vote counts. I'm in the seat that was held by the late Congressman John Lewis, so we know that every vote counts. But I need you in this fight with me, y'all. Are you with me? We know a little something in Georgia about beating the odds and making history when we sent our 2 majority-making senators to Washington. But now we've got to do it again. We've got to do it again and send Vice President Harris to the White House and Tim Walz, because, y'all, we know that when we fight, we win. When we fight, let's get it done, y'all. Thank you.
Let's speed that wave up.
In the club, hard rock. Looking for your girl, she on my jock. Now stop when we get in the spot. Booty moving weight like she on the block. With a drink, I got to know. Tight jeans, tattoo, cause I'm rock. Half black, half white, diamond now. Gang of money, opened up.
Yo, I'm running through these halls like Drano. I got that devilish flow, rock and roll, no halo. We party rock. Yeah, that's the crew that I'm repping on a rise to the top. No lead in our Zeppelin. Hey, party rock is in the house tonight. Woo! Everybody just have a good time. Yeah, and we gon' make you lose your mind. Everybody just have a good time. Let's go. Party rock is in the house tonight. Everybody just have a good time. Feel it, man. We gon' make day I'm shuffling.
Two. Some of y'all ain't doing it right. Who remember how to do it? If you remember how to do it, let me see you do it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Some of y'all fingers was crooked. Some of y'all fingers was a little crooked. One more time. 1, 2, 3. See, ain't no pinky. Some of y'all extending the pinky because you faint. It's not. Everybody say.
Student Government President Caitlin Green.
Hello, everyone. My name is Caitlin Green, and I am so honored to be here tonight to introduce the next President of the United States, Vice President Kamala Harris. As the proud president of the Savannah State student body, I couldn't be more excited to welcome a fellow HBCU alum to our beautiful city of Savannah. As a student and as a Georgian, Vice President Harris's promise for our future fills me with hope and joy. As an older sister, I know that the future of my 2 younger brothers will be bright because Vice President Harris is fighting to ensure that young Americans across the country can achieve the American dream. She has spent her entire career fighting for hard-working Americans, just like the community that raised me here in Savannah. She's fought to reduce the cost of prescription drugs. She's fought for historic investments in our HBCUs and canceled nearly $170 billion in student debt relief, including $6.8 billion right here in Georgia. She's fought for our freedoms to make our own reproductive health care decisions. And she will continue to fight for people like you and me as president. She will fight to ensure that young people can jumpstart their American dream through affordable, accessible home ownership. And she will fight to ensure that every American, including us right here in Savannah and across our state, have the opportunity to not just get by, but ahead. Donald Trump doesn't care about us. He doesn't care about the lives of working families here in Georgia. He couldn't care less about our struggles, dreams, hopes, and fears. Donald Trump only cares about himself. We cannot let him impose his extreme Project 2025 agenda on the communities we love. Vice President Kamala Harris will turn the page on Trump's dark, depressing, and hateful vision for our country. Georgia, we have a great opportunity on our hands to change the course of history. As the president of the Savannah State student body, I couldn't be more proud to now announce the next president of the United States of America, Vice President Kamala Harris.
Oh, it's good to be back in Savannah. Good afternoon. Can we please hear for Caitlin and her incredible, I also bring greetings from our president and a great friend of the state of Georgia, Joe Biden. And let us also send our love to the great president from the state of Georgia, Jimmy Carter. So, Georgia, I love you back. I love you back. And we have 68 days to go until this election. 68 days to go. And I think you all have spent your time here, sacrificing all your other obligations to be here together, us as one community, knowing we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And I thank you for taking that time. And listen, so we're here to speak truth. And one of the things that we know, this is going to be a tight race until the very end. Okay? So let's not pay too much attention to the polls, because we are running as the underdog. Okay? And we have some hard work ahead of us. But we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is good work. And with your help, we are going to win this November. We are going to win this November. Yes, we will. So look, Georgia, let me say, I'm no stranger to tough fights. Before I was elected vice president, before I was elected a United States senator, I was an elected attorney general, and before that, an elected district attorney. And before that, I was a courtroom prosecutor. So every day in the courtroom, I stood proudly before a judge and I spoke 5 words. Kamala Harris for the people. My entire career, I've only had one client, the people. I stood for women and children against predators who abused them. I took on the big banks and delivered $20 billion from middle-class families who faced foreclosure. I fought against cartels who traffic in guns, drugs, and human beings. And I stood up for veterans and students being scammed by big for-profit colleges. For workers who were being cheated out of the wages they were due. And for seniors facing elder abuse. And I will tell you, those fights were not easy. And neither were the elections that put me in those offices. But we never gave up, because the future is always worth fighting for. Always. And that is the fight we are in right now, a fight for America's future. We fight for a future with affordable child care, paid leave, and affordable health care. And on that last subject, let's finally expand Medicaid in Georgia so people can take their child to a doctor or go to an emergency room without going into medical debt. We fight for a future where we build what I call an opportunity economy, so that every American has the opportunity to own a home, to start a business, and to build wealth and intergenerational wealth. And a future where we lower the cost of living for America's families. So when I was Attorney General, I went after price-fixing schemes. And love you back. And I will tell you, when we get this done together, my friend, and when I am president, I will take on the bad actors who exploit a crisis to rip off consumers on everyday items. Who rip off consumers on everyday items like groceries. I will take on Big Pharma and cap the cost of prescription drugs and insulin for all Americans. I will take on the high cost of housing and work with developers to cut the red tape and build millions of new homes. And I will give 100 million Americans a tax cut, including $6,000 to families during the first year of their child's life. Understanding folks just need a little help from time to time, and it's not about just getting by, it's about getting ahead. $6,000 in the first year of a child's life to help pay for that car seat or the crib or the baby clothes. And unlike Donald Trump, I will always put the middle class and working class families first. I come from the middle class. I know what I'm talking about. And Savannah, but we got some work to do, okay? We got some work to do because we know Donald Trump has a very different plan. He has a very different plan. Just look at his Project 2025 agenda. Right. If he is elected, Donald Trump intends to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations. He intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. And he wants to impose what, in effect, is a national sales tax on everyday products and basic necessities. And it will cost, the economists will tell you, it will cost a typical American family nearly $4,000 a year. So, Georgia, on top of all of this, if Donald Trump wins in November, he intends to end the Affordable Care Act, to take us back to a time when insurance companies, we're not going back. We're not going. We are not. We're going forward. And the reason we know we can't go back, to your point, the reason we know we can't go back on the issue of the Affordable Care Act, remember what that was like before we had the Affordable Care Act? Remember when insurance companies had the power to deny people with pre-existing conditions? Remember what that was like? Children with asthma? breast cancer survivors, grandparents with diabetes. So yeah, we're not going back. We're not going back. And we will move forward. Ours is a fight for the future. And it is a fight for freedom. Like the freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. And understand how we got here. When he was president, Donald Trump handpicked 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did just as he intended. And now more than 20 states have a Trump abortion. Trust women. Well, we trust women. And when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it on other hard-fought, proudly won fundamental freedoms and rights. Let me just say something. Hold up for a second. Hold up for a second. Let me just say something. Let me just say something. We are fighting for a democracy. Everyone has a right and should have their voices heard. I am speaking now, but on the subject, I will say this. The President and I are working around the clock. We've got to get a hostage deal done and get a ceasefire done now. So back to this election and Donald Trump. So in addition to the fight on the fundamental freedom to make decisions about one's own body, I have been traveling our country, and the people of Georgia know what I know. There is a full-on assault on hard-fought, hard-won freedoms and rights, including the freedom to vote, the freedom to be safe from gun violence, and an attack on the freedom to love who you love openly and with pride. And we will fight against all of that, including the freedom to live free from the pollution that fuels the climate crisis. Here's the thing. Generations of Americans before us led the fight for freedom. Now, Savannah, the baton is in our hands. So we who believe in the sacred freedom to vote will finally pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. We who believe in the freedom to live safe from gun violence will finally pass universal background checks and red flag laws. So much is on the line in this election. So much is on the line. And understand, this is not 2016 or 2020. Things are different. A lot is the same when we think about the issues, and then there is significant differences. The stakes in 2024 are even higher, because consider that the United States Supreme Court recently just basically told the former president that going forward he will be effectively immune no matter what he does in the White House. Now just imagine, well, the courts are going to take care of that. We're going to get them out of, we're going to elect ourselves and everybody here in November. But I mentioned the Supreme Court ruling because understand what this means. Just imagine, before there was at least the threat of consequence, understand what it now means, and imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails. Imagine what that means when you consider he has openly vowed that if reelected on day one, he will be a dictator. That he would end the independence of the Department of Justice so he could have unchecked power and seek vengeance against people who disagree with him. He even called for termination of the United States Supreme, the supreme land of our nation, the United States Constitution. Think about what that means, and let us be very clear. Someone who suggests we should terminate the Constitution of the United States should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States of America. Never again. So it all comes down to this. We are all here together, spending this time together because we love our country. We love our country. We love our country. And we know the privilege and pride that comes with being American. And I do believe it is the highest form of patriotism to fight for the ideals of our country. That is how we realize the promise of America. Georgia, for the past 2 election cycles, voters in this very state, you who are here, have delivered. You sent two extraordinary senators to Washington, D.C. You sent President Biden and me to the White House. You showed up, you knocked on doors, you registered folks to vote, and you made it happen. You did that. You did that. And so now we are asking you to do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. So, Savannah, are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, God bless you and God bless the United States of America.